Hey, how you doing all? This is Lee Gerstmann and I have another record review for you. This time I'm going to be doing a review for Johnny Vogan. How you doing, guy? He suggested that since yesterday was the 30th anniversary of David Lee Roth's first full length solo album, Eat 'em and Smile, that I should do a review of it. I've been aware of this album ever since it first came out, and I had it when it first came out. Me and a lot of other people were watching MTV when the video for Yankee Rose came out, and it was the same thing as when Jump was first played on MTV on New Year's Eve. We watched the premiere of it. It wasn't so much whether or not we'd love the song, that was a different matter altogether. It was just something exciting that a lot of people could watch for the first time, just like people watch a sports event or watch someone that they know being an extra in a movie. They go, "Hey, that's you! I just saw you there!" It was that sort of excitement. So, this review is going to be a little bit of how I felt about Eat 'em and Smile back then, and compare it to how I feel about it now. I will say that the first song, Yankee Rose, was one of my reasons for getting it. Other than that, I would have gotten it anyway because it was a David Lee Roth solo album, and I had gotten all of Van Halen's albums, and I had gotten Crazy from the Heat, so of course I would get the album, but I loved this song. I thought it was great. Now, it doesn't impress me as much. It kind of sounds to me like it sort of lost its flavor a little bit. Steve Vai and Billy Sheehan and Greg Bissonette still are great musicians and deliver. It's just that after hearing the song so many times, it doesn't thrill me like it used to. And then Shy Boy, I loved it when it first came out. I really, really thought it was great. It too lost its flavor. It just sounds like a faster version of a Yankee Rose type of tune. It didn't really make me feel like, oh, okay, I want to listen to this again. And then I'm Easy. Back then, I wasn't that greatly caring about it one way or the other. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't my favorite. Now it's one of my favorites. I really like it. I like the vibe. It's not something that I want to hear from David Lee Roth on a consistent basis, but for this one song, the vibe of it, I really do think is very fun, and it is something that I would want to hear again. And then Ladies Night in Buffalo, I liked it pretty much back then. It wasn't necessarily a favorite or a non-favorite. It was like a very good filler, I mean, deep track. But now it's one of my favorites. It has a very good kick-ass sound to it that still holds up, and it's probably my favorite song on the album. And then Going Crazy, I didn't really like that back then that much. I thought it was a little too poppy. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the pop way that Y&T were starting to go. But now I think it's very good. And that's along with I'm Easy and Ladies Night in Buffalo. Those two and this one are my three favorites on here. And then Tobacco Road. My feeling about it is the same then as it is now. It is a good cover, but many people have done it, and it doesn't really present a greatly new aspect to the song. But if you've never heard Tobacco Road before and you hear David Lee Roth's version first, you will enjoy it. It is well done. And then Elephant Gun, that one was okay, but back then and now, I felt that it was a little bit too fast for its kind of vibe. That they were mostly going for fast and not really heavy hitting. And I don't know why that is, but it just didn't really do it for me that much. And then Big Trouble, I sort of feel the same way now that I did then. It's an okay song, but it didn't really do much for me. It's sort of like how I feel about Yankee Rose now. That's how I feel about Elephant Gun and Big Trouble now, but I felt that way back then too. And then Bump and Grind, that's better than Elephant Gun and Big Trouble. It is, if I were to name a fourth favorite on here, I would say Bump and Grind, even though there's leagues of difference between those three songs and this. This song still has some of that lost its flavor element to it. I really wasn't a huge fan of it back then, nor am I a huge fan of it now, but it does have kind of a good vibe to it that makes it a little bit better than how I feel about Yankee Rose and Shy Boy now. And then That's Life. No. I really was not a fan of it then, nor am I a fan of it now. If you have an album that's supposed to be pretty heavy and you end it with kind of a jazz pop tune, there are groups that have done that and they did it excellent, but David Lee Roth didn't really pick that great of a ending song. It's not like I want to hear David Lee Roth does Louis Prima all the time, or Jerry Valet, or whoever. But I would say that I don't disrespect his doing that kind of stuff. It's just that it didn't work for me musically. But anyway, so that's my review of an album that's been around for 30 years, and I don't want to tell you to dislike this album. All I'm going to tell you is that, just like with a lot of other albums, if you've heard them for years and years, you might change your mind when something becomes less fresh and more just regular familiar. And that's what happened to me in this album. But anyway, hey, thank you, Johnny, for suggesting it. this has been my review. Take care, everyone.